What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. So about a week ago, I posted a video on the most important financial steps to take the day you turn 18, and in that video, I briefly talked about some of the jobs and side hustles that I tried in order to start building my wealth at a young age, and I got a lot of questions asking me to go more in depth on the specific ways that you can start making a decent amount of money as a teenager. So today, I'm going to walk you through my story and show you every single job and side hustle that I tried that allowed me to build a net worth that at the time was just shy of $50,000 before my 20th birthday. Now, by no means am I trying to brag or anything like that, because this really isn't anything special, and I simply want to show you that with a little bit of effort, you can make some good money at a young age. So if you want a realistic look at how you can create multiple streams of income as a teenager from someone who did that as a teenager, then be sure to stick around to the end. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe, since I'm just trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and let's jump right into it. So we all know that there are a million different ways to make money, especially online, and it's honestly gotten to the point where it's kind of overwhelming and confusing, especially if you have trouble sticking it out long enough to see how things actually pan out. It is so easy to try dropshipping for a little while, but give up on that, and try reselling for a little, and give up on that, and try Amazon FBA, and so on and so forth. And honestly, I blame the gurus.
Knowledge.
I am not trying to rain on anyone's parade, but let's be honest, there is tons of garbage information on the internet that will really just teach you how to waste all of your time and money. We've all seen the ads for the $3,000 course that will teach you how to become a Bitcoin millionaire overnight. But the truth is, short of getting lucky, it's just not that easy. And if it was, everyone would be rolling around in Lambo money. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about, so let's look at some legitimate ways that you can actually make good money at a young age. So the first thing I did, and the most obvious step, is getting a job. Now, I talked about why this is so important in last week's video, but everyone has to start somewhere, and most of the methods that we're going to talk about later on in this video are going to require a little bit of money just to get started. But that's not the only reason that having a job is so important. As you may know, I worked at Rita's Italian Ice starting when I was 15, and I only made $7.25 an hour, which really taught me to stop going out to eat, but it also really pushed me to find actual ways to make income outside of that hourly pay. I know for me, having that hourly income kind of sucked, because every time I would go to buy something, I would think, well, that's 4.5 hours of my life, which is really effective in the sense that I suddenly stopped buying things and spending money altogether, but it can be really disheartening over time. So once you've had a job for a little while and you've saved up at least $1,000 or more, then don't worry, there are so many options and ways to make money, and trust me, I have tried them all. So the first thing I tried that was by far the most successful side hustle for years was flipping electronics. It's kind of ironic that this was the first thing I tried and the most successful, but even when I tried other things that didn't go quite as well, I always had this to fall back on as a foundation that was an easy way to make a quick buck. Now, I do have an entire video on exactly how I was able to buy and sell electronics, so be sure to check that out, because while that video is absolute trash since it is literally the very first video on this channel, the information is solid, so try to see through the low production value. In a nutshell, I would purchase MacBook computers on somewhere like Mercari or Facebook Marketplace, and then resell them on a site called Swappa, and once I built up a reputation and some positive reviews on Swappa, I was actually able to set this up as a mini business and brand the entire thing as a real company. Now, this might sound complicated, but I promise it is not, and it's all about how you present yourself. I made up these little cards that I would put my company logo on and simply ask my buyers to write a positive review on my Swappa page, and I would put one of those cards in every single package that I sent out. Now, you may wonder why people wouldn't just sell their devices online themselves instead of selling them to me for dirt cheap, and there is a very simple answer to that question. People love cash. I don't know why, and I don't understand the obsession with dirty pieces of paper, but people are willing to accept way less than the actual value as long as you pay them with those dirty pieces of paper. There was a period of time where I was doing $3,000 in profit per month just by buying devices for cheap and reselling them for their actual retail value. Now, when it comes to this, my main tip is to pick one device that you were already familiar with and focus on just that. In my case, it was the MacBook Pro that was 2016 or newer, and I know that may sound really, really specific, and did it limit some of the other opportunities with other devices? Of course, but I was able to really learn the ins and outs of that particular model, and it got to the point where I was able to buy broken devices and fix them up and sell them for a significantly higher profit margin. Again, if you want a full breakdown on exactly how I was able to make money flipping electronics as a teenager, then be sure to check out that very first embarrassing video on my channel. But let's move on to the next side hustle that I tried as a teenager. Now, this one was not nearly as successful, and that was definitely a result of my unrealistic approach and not really a result of the side hustle itself, but what I attempted to do was dropshipping. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, I'm sure you have heard of dropshipping before or are familiar with it in some way. And basically, this is when you set up a store on somewhere like Shopify and you start marketing products that you buy on somewhere like AliExpress in bulk, since you can get them for a lot cheaper. And you simply market them and brand them and sell them at a higher price than what you bought them for, and you get to keep the profit. Now, what makes dropshipping in particular so attractive is when an order is placed on your website, it automatically is purchased from AliExpress or wherever you're getting your supply from, and then it sends it to the individual who purchased it, meaning you never have to hold or invest in any inventory. And before you go thinking that this is horrible and it's taking advantage of buyers, I promise you about 75% or more of the stuff that we buy on Amazon actually comes from a website like AliExpress. To prove my point, here's a laptop bag on Amazon for $19, and here's that exact same bag on AliExpress for $2.20. Kind of crazy, right? Now, it might sound super easy to buy things for cheap and sell them for more and keep the profit, but I can assure you it is a bit more complicated than that. First of all, dropshipping is a somewhat well-known and outdated system, and because of that, it's a pretty oversaturated market. Finding a product that is not too competitive but still has a large demand is extremely important and extremely difficult. In my case, I did make some money, but the products I picked were in a way oversaturated market, and that, coupled with being so young and not knowing how to market it, really meant that this wasn't able to grow in my case. But it absolutely can be done, and I did still make a good amount of money from this. It just wasn't for me, but there are so many resources online that can show you how to get started with dropshipping and really grow a good source of income from it. My biggest tip to you is stick it out and actually give it a chance to grow and succeed, because a lot of those gurus online that you see will say that you're going to be a millionaire by next week, but that's just not the reality of things, so you need to be patient and give it time. Just like anything worth having, it's going to take months, if not years, of consistent hard work in order to see really great results. So don't create a store and, like I said, expect to be a millionaire by next week. So eventually I did start to lose interest in dropshipping, and once my domain name and my other subscriptions were due for renewal, I decided that for me it was just time to move on and try something new. And keep in mind that at the time I was still working my job at Rita's and flipping computers through all of this. But the next side hustle that I tried was another older method, but it was something that was a lot of fun, and that was buying and selling domain names. I know this might sound a little ridiculous, and I used to think the exact same thing, but with a little bit of practice, this can actually be a really profitable and fun side hustle. Basically, this involves purchasing expired domains that you feel would be in high demand and selling it to a customer who wants that domain name for their business, and they're willing to pay a premium in order to get it. So let's say you start a company called Apple Computers and everything is going well and you have some customers and it's time to set up your website, but the URL or domain name apple.com is not available. Well, people in that situation are willing to pay a lot of money in order to get that domain name, because without it, it's going to be very difficult to drive traffic to their website since all of their other branding is around that company name. Now, obviously, huge companies like Apple are not going to let their domain lapse, and that's not what this is about, but instead you can go to websites that allow you to purchase expired domains and look for domain names that you think have a lot of potential and would make a great business name. In my case, I would purchase domain names and build an entire business package around them, which included not only the website URL, but also a logo and other promotional material. I would then sell all of that material as a business package together to someone who just started a business and was looking for a great name. Now, again, this is more complicated than I make it sound, but there are tons of resources online, as usual, that can help you get started and go into great detail on how you can actually make a lot of money doing this. Now, just like anything else, this is going to take patience and practice, and there were several times where I purchased a domain that I was never able to sell because there was just no interest in it. But once I got better at building those business packages, I was able to buy a lot of domains for under $50 and then sell each of them with the business package for $1,000 to $2,000 each. Again, people who are just starting their business are willing to pay a pretty penny in order to get the business name that they really want. And more businesses are created every single day, so these names are constantly becoming more scarce. So if you think you would be good at building that package of promotional material and logos with that URL and have a keen eye for keywords that would make a great business name, then this can be a really fun and profitable side hustle. So at this point, I was 18 years old and in my senior year of high school, and I had 4 main streams of income, which were my regular job at Rita's, reselling computers, flipping domain names, and my investments. Now, the investment side of things wasn't a huge source of income at the time just because my principal was pretty small, but this led me to try my hand at day trading. Now, I did make an entire video on my experience with day trading since I got suckered into buying all of these courses thinking that I was going to be living like the Wolf of Wall Street, so I definitely want you to learn from my mistakes, but watch that video if you want a full breakdown. But to give you a quick summary, please don't try day trading as your sole source of income. Can you make money day trading? Yes. Are there people who make a lot of money day trading? Yes. Can you literally lose everything and all of your hard work because the emotions get the best of you and you throw all of your hard work down the drain? Yes. Now, thankfully, I was fortunate enough to have a lot of experience with investing in general at that point, and because of that, I was a bit numb to the ups and downs of the market. However, if you have never invested before, then you probably haven't experienced that gut-wrenching feeling of seeing your account value plummet, and there's no better way to experience that for the first time than day trading. So all I will say with that one is be extremely cautious, and if you want to do it for fun, then yeah, you can probably make a little money here or there, but in my experience, unless you are Ricky Gutierrez himself, you probably aren't going to make a consistent livable income, and you might lose everything in the process. So those are the main side hustles that I used at a young age to start making really good money as a teenager. Obviously, it's going to be a little different for everyone, and a lot of these side hustles like dropshipping and domain flipping probably look very different today than they did when I was doing them. But my biggest tip to you in general, as someone who has consolidated their streams of income into fewer, more profitable things that I actually enjoy, pick something that you genuinely like and then stick with it. As you could probably tell from this video, I had a lot of trouble staying focused on one thing as a teenager, and because of that, I often jumped from one side hustle to another before giving one an actual chance to be profitable. Now, in the process, I found what I liked and found what worked best, but you really need to be patient and set realistic expectations with any kind of side hustle. But what I can tell you for sure is with consistent hard work, you can make more money than your $7.25 per hour job as a teenager, because I did it starting with zero, and while I am by no means rolling in it, I hope that this at least shows you that it is possible to improve your lifestyle at a young age. With all of that being said, remember to hit the like button and subscribe, get your free $100 from SoFi using those links down in the description, and of course, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.